allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is the Preble Town Board meeting of July 8th, 2024. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes from June?
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Jen?
Dog control, no report received. Justice report, no report received.
Thanks, Jen. Highway report, Jeff?
Yes. We're right in the thick of the summer. 1794. We had other towns in the county helping us, and we've been working back and forth. Unless there's any questions of the highway and things, that's really all I got. The new loader came in. We're having a training session on it. It's kind of techy compared to what we've had. So they're sending a guy out to do that training tomorrow. I do want to just chat for a second on the roof of the town hall here. When it was raining heavy the other day, it came right in the ladies' room here. And we had Jay Curry actually called Barrow. He came up, looked at it, got some caulk, and re-caulked some of the joints in the chimney. The chimney bricks are basically being held in place by gravity. So he's getting a price together, depending on where it comes in as to what next step would have to be going out to bids and meet our procurement procedure. As far as actually taking those chimneys down below the roof line and then sheathing it, and then for now just filling over that until the roof is replaced, when the rest of the roof goes right. You got a 9 or 9.5 pitch chimney, and the water just cooks, and then it hits a vertical on the backside, and it just splashes. And then in the winter, it gets in there, freezes, buckles it. So we don't need them anymore because we've gone to the heat pumps. So, and the air conditioning seems to be working pretty good. So that's what I just want to bring that up in front of you when we get something back from Barrow, and we'll see what direction to go.
That definitely has to be fixed.
It's just a chronic. We've had, in the last 25 years, I know it's been patched probably a dozen times. Every other year it seems to have a little dried out area, and then it's got to be patched again. So it'd be nice to put it to bed. Other than that, any questions?
I just want to thank Jim Harris and his company for volunteering to fix that airplane from the part. He's taken it upon himself to get that re-welded and fixed. So I just want to make that known.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks, Jim.
We'll get her fixed up.
Give me a call.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Fly it up there.
Okay, get it flying again. Anything else?
No.
Anybody? Thank you.
Okay. We'll see you, Jeff. Recreation? Dave? Yeah.
There's a couple of the dugouts on the T values. They're kind of a skeleton, and lumber's pretty rotten. I don't think it's worth fixing.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw the pictures you sent out.
Yeah.
Yeah. We may want to decide just to take that all down.
I think that's about the only way to do it. I mean, they're so bad shape.
Jeff just left. At some point, maybe his crew can work on that.
Yeah.
And my kids will appreciate getting that airplane fixed. They use it quite a bit down there.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah.
All right. County legislator, Kevin is not here yet. Jen?
Zoning and code enforcement, June report, 3 building permits issued, 1 fire inspection, 118 miles traveled, 5 complaint follow-ups, 9 building inspections, 27 telephone inquiries, and 41 hours worked. Planning Board has a special meeting, this Wednesday, July 10th at 7 PM. Their regular meeting is July 24th at 7 PM. And the ZBA meeting, for this month is this Thursday, July 11th at 7 PM. Historian, no report. Town clerk, fees collected in June, $302, dispersed $293 to the town of Preble and $9 to New York State Agri Market.
Thank you, Jen. Now we'll start with unfinished business. We
Jim.
have, yes?
I'd like to say something.
Okay,
With the planning board, we've been working pretty much every 2 weeks around to get our zoning regulations finished. And in the meantime, the short-term regulations moratorium is creeping up. And so I think what we're going to do is set aside the zoning regulations for the moment and work on the short-term rentals.
Mhm.
So this meeting, we have a special meeting scheduled for Wednesday night that has been put out there as the zoning regulations. And I just would like to publicly say that we're going to change that to working on the short-term rentals,
mhm,
a local law for short-term rentals.
okay.
Okay.
Good, thank you very much. Okay, Ethics Committee. Last month, we said that we would appoint Betty Ann Pittman as Ethics Committee personnel. And so we need to make a motion to appoint Betty Ann Pittman for the Ethics Committee.
So moved.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Next item for unfinished business is short-term rentals. And Maureen just brought us up to date on what the planning board is working on right now. Don, can you give us a summary on short-term rentals?
Yes. A couple time limits here, of course. Our moratorium, I think, expires on October 28th, and which we all know. And so something needs to be, preferably something needs to be formally enacted prior to that date. So whatever is enacted is filed with the state before that date. And your options really are, although we've been kind of resistant or reluctant to consider, but you can do, as it relates to short-term rentals, you can do a local law and enact a local law that specifically and basically only addresses short-term rentals regulations. So you can pass a local law and get that enacted and get that filed before October 28th. That wouldn't prevent you from changing it. In other words, the long-term goal could remain having your short-term rental regulations part of your revised zoning ordinance. So you could still add that to your zoning ordinance as a separate chapter. And you simply, when we get to the point of enacting the revised comprehensive zoning ordinance, that would simply be part of, it'd be a chapter in that law, and we could set it up so it would automatically repeal the local law that was enacted a few months prior. So that's one option. The other option, I think, is we can give ourselves more time. We can attempt to extend the moratorium. Again, that October 28th date is when the current moratorium, the 9 months, expires. So it is possible to pass a local law extending that moratorium. There's no statute, there's no absolute set time period that limits how long you can have moratorium, but basically the longer it is, the thinner the ice is, if you will. So I can't guarantee that if we extend for another 3 months or whatever the time period, that it couldn't be challenged. Anything we do could be challenged, but it becomes a concern. The other aspect in terms of the timeline is, remember that whatever we do, whether it's a local law extending the moratorium or it's a local law passing regulations that address short-term rentals or our comprehensive zoning ordinance, we have to refer those to county planning. We have to have a public hearing. And so I've got the schedule for county planning that they publish. They have a monthly meeting, and they publish with that the date by which you have to submit to get on that monthly meeting. So we're already beyond the time to get anything on their July agenda. That had to have been in by June 28th. So to get on their August agenda, their meeting is August 21. We would have to submit to them to be on that meeting agenda by July 26. So that means we would have to have a proposed law before the board, and the board would then have to pass a resolution to have a public hearing, but also to refer to county planning. So again, that's July 26 submission date for the August meeting. They have it once a month, so their next monthly meeting is September 18. We would have to have that to county planning by August 30. So I think timeline wise, you know, I guess we could get it on the September. We could wait till August 30 and put it so it's reviewed by county planning on the September 18th. But unless we have special town board meetings, our next meeting following, because remember, we have to have their recommendations back to us before we can enact. So that means we couldn't meet till after September 18. So our next regular monthly meeting is now in October, which is October 14. So we start to be a little bit tight. I mean, I guess it would be time enough, but we're cutting it close.
Mm-hmm.
If we were to go with the earlier timeline, we, you know, and I had mentioned this to you, of course, Jim, we could have a special board meeting 2 weeks from now, but that means we've got to have a draft law to be presented to the board and considered at that time, at which time you could refer it to county planning, which we would have to get to them by the 26th. It's only 4 days later.
Mm-hmm.
That's to get it on the August agenda. County planning. If we held off for, our regular, if we didn't have any regular board meetings, then we may be not be able to get this to county planning before their September 18 meeting, which again, even then, we've got to get it to them by August 30. So those are the key dates. July 26 to county planning for their August 21, for their August meeting, which is August 21, or we've got to get a proposed law to them by August 30 for their September 18 meeting. So it's not, October 28, starts to, maybe that's not the most limiting factor. Maybe what's really the controlling factor is those 2 dates for county planning, because that's a must.
Mm-hmm. Now, it all hinges on getting something from the planning board as far as a draft.
Right, and again, and I have no idea. I don't think the board members really know if how far they're gonna get. We've been working away, and you don't know until you get into it, really. But and they have been meeting, as Maureen indicated, twice monthly. So, maybe more realistic is the August 30 submission date.
Mm-hmm.
So you could wait for your regular board meeting in August, perhaps allowing, I'd have to look at the schedule, but maybe 2 planning board meetings to consider and come up with a draft.
Mhm. Anybody have any comments from the board on this?
What do you guys think you could have anything by, in 2 weeks?
I don't think we'll know until we actually sit down and.
Okay.
Mhm.
We've done that preliminarily, but.
We could always extend the moratorium for 3 months.
I would expect it to be more realistic to August 30th deadline that we get it to you before so you can submit it to
Mhm.
county planning board.
Mhm.
But we could try. We're
Mhm.
gonna refocus this meeting and see how far we can get this meeting, and then our next meeting is on the 24th.
Any other ideas from the board on this? How about on a 3-month extension of the moratorium?
So you can see where you're at, I guess.
Yeah.
Jim, after the second planning board meeting. So, July 24.
I think we should have a good idea of where we're at.
Yeah.
After that.
Okay.
Can we, so if we schedule a special meeting and they don't have it done, we just have a really short meeting, right?
Yeah, all right, yeah.
Mhm.
So at least we'd have it on the agenda, so if it's ready to go, we can
Right.
take care of it.
Review it.
And I don't mean to set forth the process or procedure either, just a suggestion for the planning board to submit a draft of some sort to have you see, react, and respond. Maybe that is helpful, maybe it's not. But that could also happen if you had a special board meeting.
Well, Why don't we plan a special board meeting for 2 weeks? And we'll just look at whatever you've got. And if you're still working on it, then it'll be a short meeting.
Mhm.
But I think we need to plan for a special meeting, just to keep this moving forward. So we can do it in 2 weeks. What is the date on that? It's the calendar right there.
22nd.
14 and 8, 22.
22nd, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so we need a motion to have a special meeting at 7 o'clock on July 22nd.
And it would be to review any draft work prepared by the planning board
Mhm,
and such other matters as might come before the board.
mhm. Somebody say so moved.
So move.
One second.
Second, okay. All in favor?
All right.
Carried, okay. And Don, you're gonna put that in the newspaper?
I
for
can
us?
do that.
Okay,
I was just gonna turn and ask Jennifer, but one of us will,
okay,
for sure.
all right, so we'll meet here again in 2 weeks to keep the ball rolling on short-term rentals.
And can we get that draft email to us ahead of time?
I would expect we could have some kind of work product to forward to the town board in advance, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can, if you don't have all of our emails, you could just email it to Jennifer and she could send it to all of us. Okay. Any other comments on short-term rentals? Okay. We received from USPS $779. We received from Northeast Transformers $1,771.89. And from New York State Department of Tax and Finance, Homeland Security, we received $710,000 even. And that's to rebuild up on the hill here on East Hill after the storm. And I just want to also say too, if you've noticed the flowers in the front, that was a donation from Little York Plantation. So if you see them, you can thank them for their donation to the town. We need a motion to pay the general fund vouchers.
I make a motion, we pay general fund vouchers abstract 7, number 128 through 145, totaling $7,043.07.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. We need a motion to pay the highway fund vouchers.
I'll make a motion to pay the highway fund vouchers abstract number 7, numbers 72 to 83, totaling $67,027.95.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. Okay, at this time, we'd like to open up the meeting to public comment or questions. If anybody has questions or comments that they want to discuss with the board. Yes?
Matt Dickinson, and I want to know, so who gets to review the draft and law before it goes? Can everyone do that, or just the board?
Well, the board's going to review it first. We're going to have our special meeting in 2 weeks. The planning board will continue working on it. If we have comments and edits, we will send it back to the planning board to keep working on it. And eventually there will be a public hearing on it.
Okay, is it before or after it goes to the?
Yeah, there's going to be a public hearing.
But it will be after the county review, the county planning board review
Correct.
comes back with comments.
Right.
You can't look at it before that?
Well, first of all, you can certainly attend the planning board meeting this week to sit and observe the work being done by the planning board. Doesn't mean you necessarily have the right to comment, but you can certainly observe and hear discussions.
Okay.
Anybody else? Yes,
Michelle Baker.
Michelle?
So when will the first time the public will get to see a copy of the draft regulation?
Sometime after this Wednesday. Sorry, but I mean, again, you'll see a work in progress as of Wednesday. How far they get, as Maureen and Peter have indicated.
Wouldn't it be available to the public after?
After we ready to go to the,
The decision is made to send it to county planning?
Oh, certainly
Yeah.
by then, if not
Yeah.
before. That's true.
And that's, makes sense.
I mean, it honestly, if a draft is prepared and is forwarded to the town, I mean, that's really, that could be public. It's just, everyone knows it's a draft. It's a working draft.
That's why I was wondering, could the public have the same draft that will be discussed at the July 22nd? Could that be up there for people to review and see?
I think the answer is yes. I think ultimately, if the planning board feels they're far enough along to warrant posting or making available, then I suppose they could make that determination. And if it's handed over to the town board, they could do the same.
They being the town board.
Correct.
Anybody else say anything?
Theodore Dickinson.
Yep.
I'm living next to one. And now I got people who are sitting on the deck. They're coming over. I had one person come over and start talking about God to me. I certainly don't need that in my life. People telling me, that what they believe.
So this is a stranger, someone you don't even know.
They just pulled in. They weren't there 2 hours. We're cooking dinner. And he comes right over and go have at it. Then we end up with dog poop in our yard. 4th of July weekend, we have the adults walking on our property. It's a danger zone. It was by the fire pit and all kinds of things, but I don't let the kids go there because it's dangerous. They think they can walk right over and think nothing of it. They lost a kayak or canoe and they think they could just walk, we're having a party Fourth of July party. Help me. I gotta if they fall, I get sued. As far as I know, you're not supposed to rent. It's allowed now because it's going on, but if she fell, what happened to me? It's not gray there. I got problems. I gotta put posted signs on a residential property next to a $1 billion company. How does this work? I hope the planning board members listen. How does this work? I have to put posted signs on my private property.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes?
The short-term, the letter and survey or questionnaire,
Uh-huh.
did that go out or is it?
We're working on it. We're waiting for the return envelopes to get to us. So we have the letter all set up. It's all ready to go. We're waiting for these return envelopes. Because people are going to fill out the questionnaire and send it back to us. So that can go out probably this week if we get those return envelopes in.
Jim, could you talk about that a little bit more? I've never heard of it.
Okay, so we just have a letter that we composed from the town board stating that we have a moratorium for 270 days on short-term rentals. We have a questionnaire about short-term rentals. If you have a short-term rental or if your neighbor has a short-term rental, and we're just looking for information from the public to give us more input on this.
And how will that be distributed?
It'll be mailed out.
To all?
Yes, to everybody who owns property. Yes, Michelle?
Jim, can you read to us what the questions like that letter asks?
Well, questionnaire. Number one, I presently operate a residential rental property. Yes or no? If yes, location of the property, number of residential units, duration of rentals, year, month, days, approximate date when use was established, including the initial date of placement of internet advertising for said use. Number three, I live near a residential property. Yes or no? If yes, distance from property, describe the impact of this use on your occupancy of your neighborhood. Number five, what provisions would you like the town board or planning board to include in its revised zoning law or regulation to address residential property uses, residential rental property uses? So it's a short questionnaire, and if people have strong opinions, they'd be motivated to fill it out and send it back. We have the strongest opinions sitting right here, but people who haven't been here yet, maybe it's the first they hear of this. So we're trying to get the word out to everybody in the town. Yes?
Again, this is the first time I've heard of it. I missed two of the meetings. This is the first time I'm hearing of it.
Well, we talked about it last board meeting in June.
I think we were
Therefore, I missed it.
Okay,
Of the board meetings.
right. So the cover letter and the questionnaire are going to be going out very shortly. Anybody who owns property will be getting this questionnaire. And again, it's just for more input for the town board and the planning board. Anybody else with something? Yes, Michelle?
So will this be returned by residents in time to inform me?
We can't control all these variables, but the planning board, this will be an ongoing process. The planning board is meeting every 2 weeks. So they should have an initial draft next time they meet, and they'll be editing that and revising that along the way. So this questionnaire should be going out within a week. People will return it. If they're interested in this, I would think they would return it immediately. We're going to have return envelopes for them to return it in. So Yeah, we will be getting data coming back in
But the next meeting is July 22nd.
in 2 weeks,
in
right?
2 weeks. And from what I'm hearing, the Wednesday planning board meeting is not necessarily open for comments. It's to listen and take things into consideration and just to listen, but it's not open to comments. So how does anyone's comments enter the process to the regulations if this isn't happening?
Well, you can comment in 2 weeks for sure at our next board meeting.
At the board meeting?
Mhm.
Okay, that's where the main comments will be, not to shape people's ideas of, not to help shape the law.
Well, in 2 weeks, we'll have another board meeting, and just like this, you can sit and you can ask questions or make comments. Mhm. And there's going to be a public hearing, and that's really, that's the main forum for the public to come out. And by that time, people will have gotten this questionnaire and letter, and there'll be many more people in the town who will be informed about this. Right now, it's just you guys that know as much as you do about this. There's people out there that really don't even know there's a moratorium going on. And if they don't live on a lake or something, maybe they don't know or they don't care. So, but we're trying to get the word out to everybody. That's the purpose of this. Anybody else? Yes?
Me again, not Dickinson. So if the resident is owned by a corporation, who gets that letter? Corporation?
The person who's on the title of the property would get it, whether it be a corporation or an individual.
Ted Dickinson
Yep.
again. I forgot to mention cars.
Mm-hmm.
There's 7 cars parked next to me. They rent. Why? I don't understand this. There's never less than 3 cars. There's up to 10. And you've okayed, because one person said they lived in a condemned building, you okayed a building permit to redo a house that's been abandoned, to put in more beds, more B&B. So if this guy has anywhere from 3 to 8 cars, the house is only 50 feet away that you've allowed to be rebuilt for the same purpose. Can you assume there's 4 or 5 bedrooms and how many more cars in the same next to me? He owns the 3rd house right next door. And there's the same problem of cars. So how many cars can I have next to me and nobody just, all's good? The house 4 doors down is a bed and breakfast. They had 8 pickup trucks parked across their house. The house is here, street. They parked in the guy's field, and he's not here, but he's putting up posted signs also. But parking, is there anything on there about parking and cars? The planning board, hope, is listening.
That's what the planning board is going to go over.
I got
also.
a problem with cars.
Mhm.
And plus, the trucks like to hit the gas coming around the corner. A diesel is not nice. That's not a nice sound.
Mhm.
I was at my mailbox, so that's why it affected.
Anybody else? Anything? Okay, so if that's all we have, then the town board tonight is going to go into executive session for potential litigation, and then we will adjourn the meeting after the executive session. So, yes? Go ahead.
This only pertains to short-term rentals, not long-term. So if you got somebody next door that similar thing. that doesn't matter. I'm just curious. Long-term or short?
This says I live near a residential rental property. That's what the questionnaire refers to.
Mm-hmm. So if you live next to a rental property, you can write whatever you want on this, send it in as a written record for the town board and the planning board to use as information. Or you don't even have to be next to one, but in short distance where it impacts you. Okay, is that it? Okay, so we're meeting here again in 2 weeks. And at this time, we're going to go into executive session.
Need a motion.
Make a motion, go into executive session.
I'll second it.
7:36. And Jim,
I second it.
second
Yeah.
it, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Jim?
Maureen.